Hi everyone, so today I decided to do a little bit of floral watercolor illustration just because I have really neglected my Stillman and Burn, the floral sketchbook that I showed you. Since basically I came back from the summer holidays, I haven't really done anything, and I kind of missed that. I started concentrating and setting up my traveler's notebook, and the paper quality is nothing like the quality that you obviously have for watercolors, so that is why I kind of stayed off painting flowers. So today I feel it's been Friday and kind of, I don't know, it's been a heavy day with the news in the morning, and I just want to really relax and take my mind off things, and that is the best thing to do for me, is to watercolor flowers. So I picked this flower which I want to try and sort of in a way copy, and this is from this Japanese watercolor floral book, which I will leave the name somewhere here for you, because I can't remember out of the top of my head, and it's all in Japanese, so I can't read Japanese. And so yeah, I think I will use my Schminke watercolors for this, Schminke Horadam, and let's get on with this. So I just went to the beginning of the book just to see whether the artist shares what watercolor she uses, because I thought it'd be Schminke Horadam because they're kind of a little bit muted, and that's what I find with Schminke. You can get that effect with them, although they do have some very bright colors as well. But no, it seems that she's using Holbein. To me that looks like Holbein, and hopefully you can see. And yeah, so it doesn't seem like she's using too many colors as well, so she must be mixing a lot of her colors. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So I'm going to, with Schminke, I have this 36 plus 12 empties palette, and as I've said before, it's the Horadam, and it's incredibly big, so it doesn't even go into the frame, but it takes up a lot of space. So lately what I've been doing, if I want to use Schminke, I just take it out of the palette and put this in sort of in a close proximity, and that is it, and then try to mix on the tray. Or I sometimes use the disposable paper for mixing. So that is what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I was just about to show you this, and then I had the delivery, so I had to run quickly downstairs. So this is the tear off palette that I use, and it's from Hobbycraft, so it's quite basic really, and it's just this paper that lets you mix different paints, including watercolors. So it's very good because I can just dispose of it, and also if I use the tube watercolors, then it's great for me to just squeeze out some and then I can use it. Okay, so I'm expecting another delivery today, and so I might need to take a little break just to run quickly downstairs. So which pencil am I going to use? It's so weird to go back to doing this because I haven't done it in such a long time, the illustrations, that I kind of feel like I forgot almost what to do. Anyways, I'm going to grab this one, which is the HB pencil, and I'm going to kind of do a rough illustration of this flower. So there are some where she basically goes through step by step, and I don't think she does this one, so this is just, I'm not sure what she's talking here about, but I'm just going to try and kind of learn her kind of loose sort of style, and I will try not to think too much and kind of just do it as loose as I can. The other day I discovered this watercolor artist, which I'll leave her name below for you, and she's basically sort of this, like, she's an architect originally, and then she's doing her watercolor urban kind of sketching, and she does this teacup a day. So every day she either draws a teacup with the tea she's drinking or a coffee cup, which I thought is really inspiring. And she is doing such a beautiful kind of journaling of her life wherever she goes, the architecture she sees. I mean, she's incredibly talented. So, you know, I kind of wouldn't expect to take the pencil and just start drawing the way she does. So, but the thing that I found quite useful, she said basically, well, she's got like 100 plus sketchbooks, because she just goes through them so quickly, and she does sort of daily illustrations. And what she was saying is that she's discovered the Stillman and Burn soft cover, the Alpha series, I think she said. And after watching her use it over and over again, I kind of felt like I definitely want to try it, because I felt that the hardcover is a little bit rigid, and although it's neat and it feels like a book, but I felt like I just want something a little bit more, as she calls it, casual, which I think is just a great way of describing it. So yeah, so that's been my inspiration, and I'm, you know, always keen to learn, and hence why today I woke up and I thought I miss doing the floral illustrations, and I really enjoy doing them on my vacations and kind of, you know, relaxing. And obviously didn't need to do my gels, so that was great. And you just learn so much, you improve your techniques, your style, because when you do it daily, there is just no other way than getting better at it. So I'm trying to just loosely kind of look at the shapes and the lines and try to create this kind of like a flower. So there's also this other leaf. I like this leaf. It's got a lot of texture, and it's kind of almost has that spiky feel to it. And I'm not following the proportions very well, but that doesn't really matter for the first trial. So I'd say this is probably as close as I would need to get. Also in this ladies, the architect, in her sketchbooks, she's got that style of sort of sometimes pieces are unfinished, and there are a few videos where she goes and does her illustrations on location, and then she kind of does it for a while, and she says, okay, here I'm bored, I'm gonna stop now. And she says that basically she learned that you have to stop when you start thinking, are you possibly going to do too much? So before you get to that point, you need to stop, and that's how you avoid overdoing things in watercolor. So that was really useful. Yeah, so do check her out if you like that type of thing. So I'm going to switch now to watercolor and probably do a sped up video, just because I don't know how long it will take me, or I might not, I will see, but I'll just probably zoom in for you. Okay, So I decided I will do it in real time. So I'm using my Princeton round brush in size 3, and I can't tell you how good it feels to be holding a proper and good quality watercolor brush and using good quality watercolor paper and high quality watercolors. It's just a completely different experience. So I'm going to start with this bud over here, and she hasn't finished hers. It's kind of like half finished actually. I'll try to... I'm using these clips to hold the page down as weight, as well as holding it open. So let's have a look. I'm going to try and mix a few colors over here. Water swatches. So I think ultramarine violet is probably the color I should have gone with, and some of the permanent carmine. Yeah, that looks perfect now. So hers are quite watery washes, and I need to remember that because she doesn't put too much color. I always like to have that color effect and, you know, have the watercolor flow into one another and things like that. It's just something I like doing. So I am going to go in and try, let's try this green. It's the permanent green olive with the one of the yellows. I'll go with this one, the cadmium yellow light. That makes a really nice color. Possibly too much. So I won't really mind if the colors start to blend and go into one another. I want it to be quite free-flowing in that sense. And I'm going to do like that. So I think I'm okay with that. I immediately can see that my colors are, although I'm trying to keep them muted, they're still much brighter than hers. But I don't mind that too much. So just going to continue with the stalks. And here and there we'll just add some water just to break it up and give it a little bit more texture while it's still wet, because when it dries there isn't much you can do. So it kind of ends up looking a little bit flat, but you can just layer some things on top if you want to get it to look interesting and kind of more realistic, well, not realistic but more natural. So for the leaves, it seems that she hasn't colored hers in, but I have a feeling they would look nice if I just would darken them up, but they would need to be within the same color family or the color tone that I did the stalks. So I think that's good. I like this. So I'm just going to mimic the texture, and while it's still wet I don't want to let the watercolor dry, I'm going to go in and fill in these gaps. In essence, this watercolor illustration should be really super quick because it's not about creating a masterpiece. I have done a full review, by the way, of this book, so you can see more if you want. And what I was saying in that review is that it's sort of almost like watercolor doodling. It's not really too complicated. It's not for that reason, you know, kind of off-putting. Sometimes you pick a book and it looks really good and you really want to do it, but it's so complicated that you kind of think twice whether you can do it, whether you should do it. So this is not the case with this book. It's very welcoming. It doesn't seem to be overcomplicated. So I'm going to, in those bits that I need to, the watercolor was a little bit too watered down, and I'm just going to go ahead and create that intensity or the depth slightly more, and that hopefully will give me the look that I am after. So this middle part starts to look a little bit too faint. So I think I'm happy with that, and now I'm going to go over to this purple. She has an interesting mix here of purples and blues. Now I don't know how I'm going to achieve that exactly, but I have two purples. So one is the ultramarine violet and the other one is the manganese violet, which I don't like because it's kind of it's that purple that I'm not too keen. But when you mix them together, actually it becomes a very interesting and nice kind of color. So because there is a mix of things, I'm going to try and approach it from that kind of angle. Let's see, there is hello turquoise that's might be a little bit too much for this. Is it this one? It's the fifth, so it's this one here. So I'm going to go into the helio turquoise, which is a beautiful color, but it might be a little bit too much here because hers is nicely watered out. So I'm going to try and achieve the same, and I'm going to now go back into the purple mix and kind of casually drop it in while things are still wet. And I want these spiky kind of petals to come out here and there, so I'm going to do that. And once the blue starts to kind of flow into this purple, it looks very pretty. So I'm just gonna mix this remaining little bit of helio turquoise with this ultramarine violet, and it makes a really pretty color, as you can see. So if I need to bring that blue slightly down, I can do that. So I'm really happy. I'm just going to try and kind of go here and there for those spiky bits, and maybe raise it right in the middle just to kind of give the flower a little bit depth. And I think that probably would be it. I also like a little bit of background color, so I'm just going to do this and kind of just to create like a shadow. And that probably would be it, I'd assume. I think I'm happy with how things came out. Yeah, I think I'll leave the rest white. So this was a super quick attempt at doing easy kind of flower illustration, and because we live in the countryside, there are loads and loads of different wild flowers that I come across, and I always try to take pictures. So I did last time I went for a walk with my son, and so I think I will try to kind of illustrate those flowers in that style, kind of really quick, and try not to focus and kind of just sort of do it in a more free way. So if I put or try to put them side by side, it's going to be difficult because of these clips. Well, that's as close as I can get them. You can see that there is some sort of resemblance to her style, but you know, I could go over after it's finished and add some kind of marks to create that texture over here, and or I could just leave it as it is. It's really, it gives you that freedom. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. That was super quick, and even if you have the busiest day, try to find a bit of time, even if it's 10-15 minutes, to do something that you enjoy doing. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.